Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalaran, and I want to start a series where I talk about the basics of PvP, pretty much in order to help new players, or players that are not that great at PvP, perform better, see results, and ultimately grow as a PvPer, and just to get more joy out of the game when you know how to play the game. So in today's video I want to talk about one of the very basic things when it comes to PvP, and that is trinkets. How to use trinkets, and give you some examples of how not to use trinkets. First of all, what is a trinket? Well, most people are going to be talking about a trinket. Usually that means your movement impairment effect trinket. That's what most people will refer to as the trinket. The trinket allows you to get out of any CC, it's on a 2-minute cooldown, and it can make or break an arena game, a BG, or a duel. Knowing when to trinket and when to save your trinket is ultimately important when in PvP. Human racial is pretty much the CC breaker trinket, every man for himself, which allows you to grab 2 DPS trinkets instead of having to have 1 CC breaker trinket. Otherwise, by standard, you should have at least 1 CC breaker trinket at all times. Racials for undead and gnomes are similar to that of CC breaker trinket, but not quite, as gnomes can only break out of roots, and undead can break out of charms, sleep, and fears. If you are playing any of those races that do have a specific CC breaker, you may be able to use your racial before having to blow your trinket, therefore allowing you a little more mobility outside of CC, allowing you less time to be crowd controlled, and as well as allowing you to still have your trump card, the trinket, at your available use at all times. Now I have some of the different examples of when you should trinket and when you shouldn't, all depending on situation, and all this comes from experience in PvP, so practice makes perfect, and the best way to really get used to these different situations is to just play the game multiple times, go into different battlegrounds, and just build up your experience within PvP combat. In this hero clip, we have a Feral Druid who didn't trinket any of the CC. I stunned him for 6 seconds, then vanished into a cheap shot for 2 extra seconds. He died because he did not use a trinket appropriately, which he could have followed up with a defensive. Knowing when to trinket is having to watch your health, having to watch what kind of CC is applied to you, and being able to react to it quick enough, depending on the situation. Another clip we have as an example is the Feral Druid opening up on my Retribution Paladin. The Feral popped his opener on Retribution Paladin, then blew his offensive cooldowns in hopes to be able to kill the Paladin as soon as possible. I blinded the Feral, and the Feral being too eager to kill the Paladin, he trinkets it as I score the Feral into a full stun, and he literally dies within a stun because he was not able to trinket and pop a defensive afterwards. So, knowing what classes you're going up against, like a rogue can kill a Feral within the 6 seconds of a stun, especially with extra damage from a red pally. Knowing who you're facing should determine on whether you should save your trinket or not, so you should always get to know other classes as well as your own in terms of your class potential and other classes' burst potential. So a class like a rogue that has a high burst, you might want to save your trinket for the clutch situations. Another example we have right here is a DK, again, being a little bit too reckless in wanting to burst as soon as possible. He trinkets something as simple as sap. Normally you wouldn't want to trinket a simple crowd control effect like a sap or maybe like a charm. Something like a fear or a stun or a blind or a trap, incapacitate. Those kinds you might wanna, but something simple like a stun or maybe like a horror effect, you really generally don't want to trinket, mainly because those effects don't last all too long on you. There's only few rare situations where you will want to trinket a simple crowd control effect like that. Again, that will come with experience of playing player versus player combat, participating in arenas, participating in battlegrounds. It's all about learning from your mistakes and learning from different PvP situations. Here's an example of how to save your trinket. And in the team right here, we have me and a Frost DK versus Rogue Boomkin. We try to open up on a Rogue, but he vanishes. So in case the Rogue opens on me and goes in for a stun eventually, I'll pop Combat Readiness in order to reduce the physical damage I'm taking. Therefore, when the Rogue stuns me, I'm not taking that much damage, so there's no need for me to trinket any kind of crowd control. Therefore, if you're able to anticipate a crowd control ability being thrown at you, and you're able to counter it with a defensive ability, This way you can completely nullify the effect of the crowd control by not trinketing, and therefore instead of using your trinket you can save it by using a defensive ability. Another clip from the same game in order to show you whether you should commit to trinketing a crowd control ability or not. If you're going to commit to trinketing and the next crowd control spell, you should be able to trinket the crowd control as quickly as possible in order to prevent it from crowd controlling you for its full duration. Therefore you're getting the most value out of your trinket, and therefore you're getting the most uptime value outside of crowd control abilities. In this clip we got blinded, but I decided to commit myself to not trinketing this because the Boomkin and the Rogue were trying to heal up and they were going for defensive. Only at half duration of my blind did the Rogue and the Boomkin show any signs of aggression afterwards. You should either commit to trinketing a crowd control ability as soon as it hits you and not allowing its full duration or its full value to go through, or if you're not going to trinket, then you should allow yourself to sit through its full duration. And again, if you're not going to trinket, it all depends on your situation. From where we were standing, we weren't seeing any signs of aggression within the start of that blind. If the Rogue and the Boomkin opened as I got blinded, then it might have given me a different reason to trinket it. But because I waited out through half the duration of blind, and only then did Rogue and the Boomkin decide to open up on my Death Knight, therefore it allowed me the luxury of saving my trinket, giving me an upper hand in case a crowd control ability would have followed after the blind. Because I had my trinket, I was free to be hit by another crowd control ability and still be able to break out of it. I was still had the upper hand to be able to peel from my Death Knight and crowd control from my Death Knight as long as I saved my trinket. Therefore I did not waste my trinket, and therefore I was ahead of the game. In most choose games, for example, once you trinket, really that means most people are going to set up on you, because trinket is the only thing that gets you out of stuns. And playing against a Rogue Boomkin, knowing that rogues can kill you in a stun lock with some more pressure coming from the Boomkin, I probably could have died if I did trinket early. So these are the very basics of how to use or how to not use your trinket, and depending on certain situations. Again, most of my experience from using or not using a trinket have come from playing PvP all the time. The best way to learn how to use your trinket and how to apply it within different situations is practicing it. The more you practice, by practice I mean just simply playing games, simply going to Battleground or dueling people or doing arenas and learning what other classes can do against you and what you can do against other classes. This way you can bypass the some of the need to trinket certain abilities, and this way you'll be able to know which abilities you should trinket, which abilities you shouldn't. And again, best way to learn from this, as I'll say it again, practice makes perfect. So just go play games and learn from your mistakes and try different things and experiment, because that's the best way to learn how to get better at a game like WoW. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this kind of video, and I'm thinking I'm going to make more of these kind of basic guides on PvP, because a lot of you guys come in and you ask me very basic questions within World of Warcraft and within PvP and within Rogue PvP, and I believe I should start making videos on some of the basics for some of you guys that don't quite understand, you know, the very, you know, the base frameworks of how to PvP. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this kind of video. Let me know if you want to see anything else when it comes to the basic WoW PvP videos and basic WoW PvP guides. If you want to see anything like that, drop me in the comments below, and I definitely will make videos on that. Hopefully you guys enjoy the day. Hopefully you guys are staying healthy. My name is Dalaran. Subscribe if you want to see more Comic Rock PvP, and I'll see you guys in the next video.